We're rushing through this a little bit, as many of you know, because we want to spend most of the workshop on the real world. So this is kind of just basically giving you a quick overview, and then we'll see how the real world really is the culmination of the correction or the undoing of this insane thought system. Another way of understanding why sin is the belief that we have killed off God is that if God is defined, as he is all the time in the Course, as perfect oneness and perfect wholeness, then to believe that you are a son of God that is separated from him means that you have denied the predominant attribute or characteristic of God. Again, if God is perfect oneness and his reality is non-dualistic, which means that there's no place where he ends and the Son begins, right? That there is no God in Christ really in heaven. These are dualistic terms which are meaningful to us, but in heaven you do not have a consciousness of God that can observe himself in relationship to his creation. And Christ does not have a consciousness that can observe himself in relationship to his creator. All right, so that these are terms we use in a dualistic world to kind of explain something which is beyond our ability to understand. But when we say that we exist independent of God, we are denying this perfect unity. And since God is this perfect unity, therefore we are denying God. Hence we speak of the ego's belief that it has killed God. That this perfect, non-dualistic, whole, total God disappears. And in its place is now the ego's version of God, which is a God that's at war with him. Because once the ego believes in the reality of sin, that it has separated from God and stolen God's life and God's power and usurped his place on the throne of creation, then the guilt over this terrible deed forces the Son to believe that God is going to punish him. And this is the origin of all fear, that we become afraid of the punishment that our guilt tells us we deserve. And this has nothing to do with what may be going on outside of us objectively. We will perceive punishment, we'll perceive attack, we'll perceive betrayal and abandonment and humiliation, because that's what we believe we deserve because of the terrible, terrible thing we have done, or believed we have done. Right, so this basically is the hallmark of the ego system, what we usually refer to as the unholy trinity of sin, guilt, and fear. Right? And then from this, shall we make up the world yet?
Yes.
Are you ready to make up the world? Okay. Okay. Hold on to your seats now. We're going. All right. From this insane belief that God is going to get us, right, which makes our mind into a battleground, the ego tells us the only escape, the only way we could avoid this vengeful wrath of God, which will surely mean our own destruction, is to leave the mind entirely. Right? We all know in our popular speech that when you go out of your mind, you become insane. Right? Well, literally, the Son of God is out of his mind and is insane because he projects himself, which is the psychological term for this process. He projects himself from the mind and takes the thought system with him. So the thought system of fragmentation, separation, sin, guilt, and fear, attack, and death go with him, but now it's perceived to be on the outside of his mind rather than inside of his mind. And when a thought that is within your mind is projected outside of your mind, that's what makes you believe there's actually something out there. And when we all did this as one collective Son, that's the Course's equivalent of what scientists refer to as the Big Bang. Right? This is the birth of the physical universe. Right? Please make sure when you read this Course that you don't read it to mean that Jesus is saying that the terrible things in the world are illusory. That's not what he's saying. The whole world is a terrible thing because of what it represents. So the entire physical universe, anything that has form, anything that has shape, anything that changes, anything that dies, must be an illusion because it's outside of the mind of perfect love, of totality, and of eternity. Right? So that the world, the physical world, is nothing more than the projection of the tiny mad idea taken seriously. If right at the beginning again we had laughed, as the Course tells us we should do, if we had laughed at the tiny mad idea because of the preposterousness of it, I think that's the word, preposterousness.
Preposterous.
Yeah, preposterousness. Okay. If not, it's now a word. Right? It's on videos, so now it's enshrined. Right? The preposterousness of it, if we simply laughed at it, nothing would have happened. There would not have been a wrong mind, and there would not have been a physical world. Right? So in the Course, when Jesus says that the world is an illusion and unreal, he means it very literally. Right? We just think that we're here. Just as when we dream at night, we think that something's really happening while we are asleep. In reality, when we awaken from the dream, we say, thank God it was only a dream. Nobody was really chasing me with a butcher knife. I made the whole thing up. So there's a line in the Course where Jesus says that we are at home in God, yet dreaming of exile. So this whole world, all of our experiences, both individually as well as a collective son, are all part of an insane dream, a nightmare.